Well, let's get into this. DM Diablo seems to be frustrated with gaming. I'm sure he's going to mention Diablo 4, but I wonder what his true frustrations are about.
It seems to me like whenever I talk about a game, I can't get away from whatever the previous game was. So we were watching
Fair.
Path of Exile, and when Path of Exile 2 was being announced and the gameplay footage was being shown, which, by the way, it did look really good. The only thing that was going on in the chat was people comparing it to Diablo 4 and talking about how Diablo 4 is dead because of this footage, how, Path of Exile was already a better game, even though none of us have played it, and then how Diablo is dog shit for not being able to do.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. Every game is killing the game before it, and the game before it was trash because this is better. And like, it's just this chain of trying to move. And like, I think a lot of it comes down like content creators, because like, I am tired of this game. So I want you to go over to this new game when this new game comes out, because I'm going to this new game. So like, if I tell you this game's dead now, when this new game comes out and I'm there, you're going to be there with me.
What Path of Exile 2 is doing.
But also like
the hyper reactionary of this,
larger.
and then you have the people that were like, Path of Exile 2 looks garbage, Diablo 4 is a million times better. It's almost like gaming politics, where no one can just talk about the game we're watching. Like, I was kind of hoping that while we were watching, it was just going to be a bunch of people like explaining why they like Path of Exile, what they're excited by, etc. And to be honest, my chat is mostly fairly positive adults, it seems. There's only been like 4 people ever banned in my Twitch chat.
It's doing pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I have a pretty long ban list, but hear me out. I think that's because everyone's trying to make me famous by giving them money. So, in that regard, I don't think I have a lot of bans either. But he doesn't have a huge ban list based on, do you want to be famous? That's impressive.
I'll get one guide sometime. But other than that, it's like, for the most part, I mean, my chat's pretty wholesome, I would say. Everyone's pretty good people. And we try really hard to cultivate an atmosphere of like, we don't shit talk other content creators. We try to be positive in general, not just about a game we're talking about, but we just try to like have a good time. My opinion is people come to a live stream to be entertained, listen to somebody talk, and also, for the most part, avoid most of the other bullshit. If someone wants to listen to politics, religion, your opinion on something controversial, or hear somebody whine the whole time, they'll just turn on the TV, because there's plenty of that. So for the most bit, I just try to have a good time in my streams. And I've learned that, like I've said before, I've learned that because before I was not always that way. If you dig up some of my older videos on my Darth channel, you're for sure going to see videos of me ranting and raving about games and etc. And I've matured out of that because I got sick of my own negativity, to be honest with you. And so now
there is like this sell point on the internet, right? You have to be contrarian. You have to dig in and rip things apart. And a title that says Diablo 4 is dead is going to do better than a title that says Diablo 4 should improve this. It's just the way the internet is right now. It's kind of insane.
Well, I'm kind of realizing, while just trying to talk about and look at games, it is hyper frustrating for me that gaming in general, this isn't just like a my chat thing. This isn't like a YouTube. This isn't a Twitch thing. This is gaming in general seems to have got so reactionary, where the only way that we can talk about if a game is good is by comparing it to another game and being like, this game's bad. Or it goes from the same people who were saying they love the game.
It is like everything's a competition, and it has to be held up to some other standard, or like nothing is just measured on its own merit anymore.
A week later, the next week it's the worst game ever and deserves to be review bombed. And I don't understand where the lack of nuance has gone in the conversation. It's actually frustrating for me because I try really hard nowadays to like walk down the path of like acknowledging the faults when I see them. And I will say freely in this video, because people still for whatever reason, think that I'm trying to say the game's amazing. Diablo 4 is still a 6 or 7 out of 10, exactly like I thought it was in the betas before the channel
It's
literally went anywhere at all.
slightly above mid.
It's a
It's
decent
enjoyable.
game. It's not groundbreaking and the best
it
thing in the world,
has
but it's a
things that need to
solid
be
game to play
fixed.
for whatever amount of time you enjoy it. That's how I feel about Diablo 4, right? But still in this day and age, if you try to be
No, Kitty, my papa.
you're really Kitty wants in on this video too. She's been frustrated because she hasn't been allowed outside very much. But you can't talk about, my point is, you can't talk about a game anymore without having to be on like one side of a political fence. You either have to hate everything about it or love anything about it. And if you try to have that level of nuance where you walk down and you acknowledge the negatives and acknowledge the positives, you either get thrown in a basket of somebody who's like a Blizzard fanboy. I don't know why that's a thing. It's like, oh, you're a Blizzard fanboy. No, actually, I've barely played many of their games. In fact, I got roasted because I did a tier list of Blizzard games, but I played like half of them because I haven't even played the original ones. And that is when you would have made a Blizzard fanboy. I haven't really played D2 all the way. I've never even played D1. Didn't play original StarCraft. Didn't play the Warcrafts into a World of Warcraft. You know, I played like StarCraft 2, but I didn't play the OG StarCraft. So it's like, no, I've played some of their recent games, and I didn't even really like Overwatch that much. I played Overwatch 2 for like all of 10 minutes.
Hate Overwatch.
So
I don't do first-person shooters anymore. It's impossible to be like casual in those games. You have to be like full-on sweat. This is the only game you play in those games to even like have something that resembles an average amount of fun, right?
Difficult for me, and this isn't even a Blizzard conversation or about Diablo 4 or about the way that people perceive my opinions. It's more of the political gaming atmosphere in general that I'm sick of, which is that no matter what, I can't get away from just people just picking a fence. Like, I can't have any normal conversations with people, and it's actually driving me crazy lately. Because I just want to hear somebody say, "Well, I like this about the game. I don't like this about the game, and I'm playing the game until next year when Path of Exile 2 comes out in the beta in June, and then I'll go play that one." It's never that reasonable point. It's always like, "Oh, Diablo 4 has 1 year, and then it's a dead game. It's in its grave. The devs are idiots." You know, it's always that, and
because one sells clicks on the internet and one doesn't. It's just the way, and like it's not reserved for gaming either. If you look outside of gaming to all the other drama stuff he talks about, it's the same way. You cannot pick a middle of the road nuanced argument anymore and make progress. Or like you can't have a opinion that's like, well, this is good, but like it's not perfect. Like you can't have those anymore, and it's insane. And there is that, like, because you like one thing or you have a middle of the road opinion, you're a fanboy and a diehard, and it's like, no, I'm just enjoying it right now. Something else will come along and it'll take my attention. That doesn't make me a fanboy of that next new thing. It just makes me someone who enjoyed it for the time I had it and played it.
I guess I'm just like using this video as my fucking therapy session for a moment or something. So I'm sorry, but it's I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but I can't get a normal conversation about gaming anymore. It's just always it's always all the way on one side or all the way on the other. And if you try to ride the line of like acknowledging what is okay, what is the problem, then both the sides hate you.
He's not
because the one side that's really positive about it's like, well, there's no negatives wrong about it at all. And then the negative side about it's like, well, you're just a paid shill or something. Like, I can't be reasonable in videos without having the vocal minority. And I realize the majority of you are silent, silent watchers, silent, view,
it is the
live stream lurkers
and everything. And like the gaming industry has had it for a while. I think the Video Game Awards is a massive example of politics and gaming, much the same way that, like, I don't know if it's the Oscars or whichever one, but like Game of the Year is not always going to be the game that the most players enjoyed for the longest period of time. Game of the Year is going to be which team had the best marketing and developed the best argument or product that sold them as the Game of the Year, regardless if the product delivered on all of those promises or had the fan base that developed that. That's politics and gaming. Everything has this like we call it politics because that's kind of like the start of it all, is when this argument stood up against this argument, and like it's just exacerbated in society as a whole, where it's so easy to connect with the exact people that think the exact way that you do, that you start to ignore any other nuanced or division from that. So because we are so interconnected, it's so easy to get in echo chambers or anything else, and like nuance starts to die, and middle of the road arguments get weeded out or cast as part of the other tribe. And it is the minority that pushes all of this narrative, but they're so loud about why they feel that way, and it just, it's ridiculous.
Stuff that aren't, you guys just watch because you're driving and it's a podcast or in your head or something, and you're not sitting there leaving like long nuanced breakdown comments, which is fine. Like, I understand that, but the people who are typically leaving like a lot of comments every single day, I'm getting a lot of positive ones, but I'm starting to get with the amount of reactions going on, negativity and all this stuff around the game, I'm starting to get a lot of people that are like choosing a side, and now even talking about Diablo 4 is like a war for some reason. And it's like, it's just a game.
It's a game.
It's literally a game. And
it's a game. It's not that, nothing is that serious. At the end of the day, do you enjoy it? Okay, continue to enjoy it because you enjoy it. Do you not enjoy it? No? Move on to the next thing. That's fine. Not everyone has to move on to the next thing. You don't have to attack the person that enjoys it because you moved on to the next thing. It doesn't matter. The person who's enjoying it does not affect your enjoyment of the next thing. Just because you hated it doesn't mean you need to burn it to the ground. That's not that hard. They're games. Have fun.
The frustrating part for me is I can't talk about it like it's a game anymore. And you can't have an opinion about it like it's a game anymore. If you just want to talk about the game, suddenly, you're, oh, well, that means you're supporting, shitty devs and shitty game making, and
Absolutely.
you're the reason that games in general are bad. Or, if you hate the game too much, then it's, oh, well, you're the reason that gaming is terrible because everything's negative and all that. Like, there's no, I understand that there's people that aren't this way, but it sure doesn't feel like those are the people that are in the conversation. And I don't know. It's got me bummed out a little bit today, where I just want to have a normal conversation with normal people with normal opinions. And there's just a lot of flaming going on between everybody, and people just can't get along. And it just frustrates me today. If I had to make one point in this video, it's this. I hope that we can all agree that we're playing games to have fun. That was the original interpretation of these games. In fact, a lot of the negative comments I'm seeing are that the fact that games aren't fun anymore. But then we spend a lot of time doing things that aren't fun, like getting in really hardcore discussions with people that we don't agree with, when it's just an opinion, and opinions are just that, subjective thoughts that don't mean they're right because they have an opinion. So constantly...
Literally everything is subjective. Entire Great Green Earth. Everything is subjective. It's based on how you got to this point in your life. What were you doing when this happened? Like, no one's going to have the same opinion, and we should embrace the fact that people don't have the same opinion, and we shouldn't put people down or attack people because opinions differ. At the end of the day, someone else's opinion of a game or a product or anything else does not, will not, and cannot affect your life. Especially in gaming. It's a hobby. At no point in time does someone else's enjoyment of a game hurt your enjoyment in life. It cannot happen. Get over it, move on, and don't dig into these trenches, and don't pick fights for no reason.
Arguing and yelling with each other and all this stuff is really just kind of burning me out a little bit, and it's ruining what gaming originally was for me. Like, how my cat's losing her mind in the background?
Yeah.
Like, That is a good
his
example
inside.
of how I feel about where gaming is going. Maybe we're not
Just
all the way
yelling
there,
at
but I'm
everyone.
starting to see it's getting that way, where it's like you can't do anything without this constant meow, 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 meow in the background. Eventually you're just like, just stop. Just stop. I'm just trying to play a game. You know, it's really not that serious.
So Scully, because Scully asked, let the cat out. I think he's been keeping the cat in, like, someone in my comments or someone may correct me eventually, but I believe he's keeping the cat inside. He used to let the cat out a lot, but I think the cat got into a fight and then got stitches or something, or may have got slightly hurt. So like the cat's kind of been in forced inside cat mode for a while just because of an incident that happened, which is why his cat is not happy, because cat likes outside. It was an inside outside cat, but cat got hurt.
Maybe I wasted my own money playing the game. Maybe I'm wasting my own time playing the game. I'll play something else when I get bored, you know? And it doesn't mean that other people can't have opinions about what's right or wrong about the game. I'm sure that's fine. It's not even like a thing of me getting mad at YouTubers or anything with opinion. It's really like everyone. Like you can't go, if I go to a Reddit, I know without even opening it today, I know it's going to be 15 comments mad at whatever the campfire chat was. I know there's going to be personal insults and all this stuff too. If I go to the forums, I know it's going to be the same thing. If I look at my own YouTube comments, there's going to be a lot of really positive comments about you guys being nice to me, because for whatever reason, that's just still a flood of those nice comments coming in. But then there's going to be tons of counter comments of people just arguing and being mean to each other. Maybe I'm in the wrong business, because I just, like, the yelling and freaking out about each other, like, actually just bums me out. I actually, before this, people ask me all the time, like, what my job was before this. And it was, I did call centers, where I pick up the call and, like, take someone's complaint, and they would immediately be like, fuck you, and start yelling. And it just,
accurate.
Like I said, it's just like the cat in the background, where it's just losing your mind. And eventually, the longer it goes on, like, the more it drives you crazy. And I just wanted to rant about it, because honestly, I'm a little bit frustrated today. I know I'm part of the problem. I know I'm a YouTuber that goes out and done opinions. I've done reaction videos. I have, you know, years of me, like, still doing the exact same thing, getting mad about videos all the time. That's part of what I've done in the past. I know that. And maybe it's just people, you know, maybe with age, people evolve out of it, you know, but I've grown sick of my own constant negativity, and I've tried to mature out of it. And, I'm just realizing, like, there's just a constant flow of new people in gaming, and it seems like it's spiraling more and more and more and more. And I know, like, anger and all that gets engagement. Yeah, I know that's the way it works. I know how the algorithms work and all that. So
anger gets engagement.
I don't know if there's a way out of it, but it's just, I can't be the only one that feels like gaming went from something where everyone talks about it because we all love it, and it builds a community off, like, oh, you game too, you know, when you meet somebody else, to, like, now it's just, everyone just fights, like, all of the time.
Pick a tribe, go to war. That's what it's turned into. And I think he's right. I think that there's a lot of really good points in here. I don't see any, like, real fault to what he's saying. And, like, it's not his frustration with gaming in this video. It has nothing to do with gaming. It has to do with gamers and our need to, like, create tribes and destroy happiness and be trolls and exist on the internet. And I don't know what changes the internet going forward, but here we are, right? I think he's right. I think it was a pretty good video. Obviously, it's a little, it's different from what he's normally does. But go ahead, drop it a like, and yeah, hopefully we can stop going to war with each other and just learn to enjoy a hobby and get along. Like and subscribe, do this stuff. You want all that? All of that. Hey there, it's Skeg Broggy. Thanks for watching the video. And if you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and follow me here on Twitch for more awesome content. Link is in the description.